Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the impact of Medicaid budget cuts on Arizona hospitals. Also tonight, the tallest skyscraper in the state is coming to downtown Phoenix. And a best-selling Phoenix author is out with a new literary rom-com. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Dragon Bravo wildfire at the north rim of the Grand Canyon has burned 8,600 acres and counting. More than 70 structures have been destroyed, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. National Park Service is defending its decision to initially manage the fire as a controlled burn, saying that the agency's response was, quote, expertly handled, and that high winds and other sudden weather changes caused the unexpected spread of the fire. Now, the agency's self-assessment follows Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego, along with Governor Katie Hobbs, calling for a full investigation. Another wildfire, this one the White Sage Fire, is burning about 30 miles north of the canyon and is at more than 52,000 acres or so. This fire, like the Dragon Bravo fire, 0% contained. It's Election Day in Arizona's 7th Congressional District as voters choose the nominees to succeed the late Congressman Raul Grijalva. It's a heavily Democratic district, so the Democratic primary winner will almost certainly win the general election. The Democratic frontrunners are Adelita Grijalva, daughter of the late Congressman, former State Representative Daniel Hernandez, there he is, who has staked out a more centrist position, and 25-year-old Deja Fox, a social media influencer who's focused on attracting younger voters. The Republican candidates include Daniel Gutierrez Sr., Jorge Rivas, and Jimmy Rodriguez. The general election is set for September 23rd. Other headlines: inflation is up. Consumer Price Index rose 2.7% from last year at this time. That's the fastest pace since February. It's also slightly higher than economists had expected. And while it shows only the early impact of U.S. tariffs, today's report does show an increase in prices of products most impacted by tariffs. That said, the Phoenix metro area inflation here was just 0.2%. It's by far the lowest of any major urban area in the country. Lower gas prices and housing costs are the main reasons for the local rates. This comes amid reports that the Arizona job market has cooled, so much so that the state is among the weakest in the U.S. for job growth. And today's overall inflation report suggests that the Fed will not be lowering interest rates later this month, which will no doubt get the attention of President Trump, who had this to say about the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, yesterday.
We have a bad Fed chairman, really bad. If he would lower the rates, and I tried being nice to the guy, it doesn't help. He's like a knucklehead. No, he's a knucklehead. A stupid guy. He really is.
The president speaking there at a faith-based event yesterday at the White House. Federal budget cuts to Medicaid are creating concerns that hospitals in Arizona might be forced to close or otherwise delay care for more than 2 million Arizonans that rely on Medicaid. Joining us now is Brittany Kaufman. She's CEO of the Health System Alliance of Arizona. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, the cuts in the reconciliation budget. Give me your initial reaction, your initial thoughts.
So H.R. 1, which most people commonly have heard it referred to as the One Big Beautiful Bill, was passed and signed July 4th, and it has drastic cuts, historic cuts to Medicaid from the federal funding level, which has direct state budget impacts and impacts to Medicaid beneficiaries here in Arizona, as well as the healthcare providers in the state. So the current assessment is right now healthcare leaders are trying to figure out what exactly is in the bill, what does it mean, what will the impacts be? Will things change, right? The political winds. So we know there's a storm coming. Actually, we're in the storm. We're just not sure how bad it's going to be. So we're just trying to do the best we can to navigate through these difficult circumstances to continue to provide care to Arizonans.
What do you know that specifically that will for sure impact hospitals in Arizona?
Should all of these provisions go into effect, and we have to believe that they will, we know for sure that there are going to be stricter requirements for Medicaid eligibility, work requirements, shortened timeframes for redeterminations, really a lot more red tape and bureaucracy added to the process for those who are eligible to remain on Medicaid. Also, what we know as part of the bill is a reduction in what are called provider taxes. Those are critical funding mechanisms that the state of Arizona in particular, like many other states, use in order to draw down that Medicaid funding from the federal government to pay providers for the services they provide to Medicaid beneficiaries. So we know there are going to be a loss of annually billions of dollars to providers, and the state will have to make some difficult assessments
Yes.
and decisions on what they want to do in that regard.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the matching rate to expansion was hit, wasn't hit? I know there's a 90% match here. Is that what you were referring to, or where does that play into all this?
No, actually, the FMAP, that's the federal match
Yes.
for the states, for the expansion population, actually did not change in the bill.
Okay, it didn't.
There were promises made to senators and others that they will revisit that. So we expect that to be back on the table. However, as passed, H.R. 1 did not change the FMAP for the expansion. What it did was put in stricter requirements for eligibility and reduce provider payments.
And again, I hear it from those who support the bill, and they say that Medicaid enrollment doesn't necessarily need to go down. It will not. It's not a cut, as it were. But what we're hearing from the other side is that, you have to check that. What they're saying from the other side is you still qualify. You just got to prove it. And what you're saying is proving it is such a deterrent to so many people, they're just going to fall off?
And you're exactly right. As the bill's written on its face, it doesn't seem like they are disenrolling anyone or taking anyone off the Medicaid rolls. But we know by these increased requirements, I'm not against work requirements per se. No one is really, but they're not understanding the administrative burdens is really what they've done. It's a thinly veiled way to actually add more bureaucracy, more layers to make it for those folks who are eligible to fall off. And I think what people don't realize is Medicaid isn't like Social Security, where you're just sitting there, like they say, able-bodied adults collecting paychecks, collecting a check for Medicaid. That's not how our system works. Providers get paid for providing services to Medicaid patients who come in and need those services. So really what we're going to see, in order to realize the cost savings that they needed in this bill to get the tax cuts that they wanted, ultimately you're going to have to serve fewer people. So we know that will happen. But they have been very good in the rhetoric of we haven't cut anyone off, we're addressing fraud, waste, and abuse, but ultimately no, to achieve those cost savings, people will have to fall off the rolls, or providers will have to be reimbursed lower rates.
Yeah, it's an interesting equation there. What happens, I'm hearing a lot about rural hospitals in real trouble if and when all these things go through. Is that hyperbole? Is it reality? What's going on here?
The reality is hospitals, both urban and rural, have really tight financial margins. They have to be very, very conscientious and smart with their business operations, and rural in particular, because maybe not of the volume or the populations they serve. There's a heavy Medicaid population in rural areas, so they will definitely feel a lot of these cuts directly and quick.
Yeah, and I remember years ago, before we had the expansion and all this going on, uncompensated care from hospitals was a big deal. We had a lot of hospital executives on here saying, we can't survive with this uncompensated care. Something's got to be compensated. Are we going back to that?
Well, and that's the thing, Ted. This isn't our first rodeo. We've seen this story play out. I was actually at the Arizona Chamber of Commerce at the time, and I worked for them when the Arizona Chamber was a huge proponent with Governor Brewer of expanding Medicaid to eliminate what they called the hidden health care tax on business and to lower uncompensated care. Because by law, hospitals have to serve everyone that comes into their doors for service, regardless of their ability to pay. So if they can't get reimbursed for the services they've rendered, they can't bear those costs. So there's cost shift in the system, and often that has to go to employer-sponsored or private insurance in order for hospitals to keep their doors open.
In order to keep those doors open, but again...
For everyone, not just Medicaid patients, right?
Right.
We have an integrated healthcare system. We don't have Medicaid hospitals. We don't have Medicare hospitals.
Right.
We don't have private insured hospitals. We're all one big system, and Medicaid is a huge component of that system. So when you start to cut the financing and mess with that, it really destabilizes the whole entire delivery system.
To the point that hospitals might have to close their doors.
Potentially. I mean, worst case scenario, yeah, it's a real threat.
It sounds like it won't take effect till the end of next year, correct?
They're depending on which provision,
Yes, I guess it's- they're
different
floating.
effective dates, whether that be to get by the parliamentarian, whether that be for administrative reasons or political, but various effective dates.
So last question. We talked about what happened, I think, in 2011 or back when was it somewhere around there, 2012? When was it?
Well, the freeze happened during the Great Recession.
Right.
So we saw that here. So Arizona, what we have, we're unique other than other states. We have, our expansion population is really made up of two different avenues. It's Prop 204, which was passed in 2000 by the voters saying they wanted low-income folks to receive Medicaid benefits. Well, Governor Brewer, after the Affordable Care Act, knew that they could expand just slightly to draw down more federal funds, cover more people, and deal with that uncompensated care cost that the hospitals and the business sector really had felt when they froze enrollments during the Great Recession. When we saw the enrollments freeze in the Great Recession, what immediately happened was uncompensated care spikes. What happens when people lose coverage? They don't stop getting sick. They just don't seek the appropriate care at the appropriate time, and they come to the ER sicker
Right.
and more expensive care.
So last question, really quickly. Were lessons learned there that can be applied here?
Yes, and this is what we kept saying. We've been here before. We've seen this story play out, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well for Arizona, and this is exactly what you'll see in other states. Unfortunately, I don't think that resonated the way we hoped it would, and the bill passed, and so we're not making this up. It's not hyperbole. We have been here before.
Yeah. Brittany Kaufman, again, Health System Alliance of Arizona. Really good information. Good to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
You bet.
In the Sahara Desert,
Fossils are everywhere, telling you what life looked like 40 million years ago.
an incredible discovery
We have a complete skeleton
may reveal the origins
of the prehistoric whale that lived here long time ago.
of the world's largest mammals.
This is so awesome. They're doing everything mammals do, but in the water.
When whales could walk on Nova.
Wednesday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. Welcome to Check Please Arizona, the show where Arizona residents recommend their favorite restaurants. In this episode, we're checking out a New York-style deli, wood-fired pizza, and modern Latin cuisine.
It was cooked perfectly. It was great.
And in a witch.
Yes, in a wish.
Chicken was really good. It had a chipotle mayo, which really mixed really well.
I actually took leftovers home and had it the next day for breakfast.
Thursday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Groundbreaking on a new skyscraper in downtown Phoenix is set for later this summer. This is not just any skyscraper. It'll be the tallest building in Arizona and bring a new look to the Phoenix skyline. Here with more on all this is Chris Mackey. She's Community and Economic Development Director for the City of Phoenix. Good to see you again.
Great to see you.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Okay, before we get to the tallest building, because we've heard about tall buildings and how people have ideas of tall buildings before in the past here. I want to talk about downtown. Holy smokes, if you've been gone for 10 years and you come back, you're going to look around and go, what's going on?
You don't recognize the place.
No. What is going on?
It's absolutely crazy. So we've had a really strong focus since 2014 on bringing new people in to live in downtown Phoenix. We've gone from 10,000 people in 2014. We put this audacious goal together that we wanted to get 20,000 people living by 2030. We're at 24,500 today. We'll be at 30,000 by 2030, and that doesn't include our students.
Yeah, and that it sounds to me like they all fit in this new building here.
I think so.
We're tallest. Okay, where is this building going to be built, and how tall is it going to be?
So it is just north of Van Buren on 2nd Avenue.
Okay.
So it will be just kind of adjacent to the new Central Station project. It's going to be 44 stories, about 542 feet tall. To put that in perspective, Chase Tower, that's the existing tallest building in Phoenix, is 40 stories and 483 feet.
So it's 60 feet taller than Chase Tower.
60 feet taller.
And there's a second tower that's going to be going along with this, not quite as tall?
There is about 36 stories is that tower.
Okay.
So altogether, this project will have just under 700 high-density residential units, 230 hotel keys, about 200,000 square feet of office, ground floor retail and restaurants. It's really going to be kind of this encompassing living space all in one.
It's kind of a little city in of itself.
It's going to be cool.
700 multifamily. Okay, are we talking apartments? Are we talking condos? A little bit of both?
These are apartments.
This is all rental?
All rental apartments. We've seen just in the last year about 1,200 high-density residential multifamily units finish here in downtown, and our absorption rate, or how fast they're being taken down, is exceeding what is around metropolitan Phoenix by about 4 times. So I think what kind of to your point when you were talking earlier is that downtown's just turned into this new, really exciting, vibrant place that people want to live, so they can walk to the pubs and to work.
You mentioned a hotel in
Yeah.
there as well. I mean, like how many floors does that take up?
So it's about 12 of the floors of
Wow,
one of
okay.
the taller towers.
Okay, so and then people can live above the 12-story hotel.
Absolutely.
And you got retail at the bottom. You got retail, restaurants, the whole
Restaurants,
nine?
coffee shop, the whole thing, a paseo that really will connect downtown right through a beautiful landscape walk area.
What kind of parking you going to have here?
About 1,200 subterranean parking spaces. So there'll be some subterranean and some above grade, enough to service the project and kind of the great restaurants that are already in the area.
You know, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of humans doing a lot of things. That needs a lot of infrastructure, doesn't it? I mean, how is that working? What's the equation there?
You know, the really great thing is when downtown was built, it was really built to stand the test of time. And the infrastructure that was here, you know, some of this infrastructure was put in 1903 or 1910 or in a lot of older areas. So the development community is putting in all new infrastructure, but our power grid was built to handle all of the power of the new high-density residential. Water and wastewater is there, and we're creating, I think what's really important is it's paying attention to a lot of existing infrastructure as opposed to having to build new infrastructure as we push out.
Yeah, but it just seems like, you know, Phoenix has been around a long time, but we haven't had up to 700 multifamily units in one big thing. It sounds like a lot of piping going on and plumbing and all sorts of things.
It's a lot of great jobs for people to build these towers.
Well, you got that as well, too. All right, I'm looking at here and I'm seeing lots of glass. And I'm thinking we have lots of sun. Are there concerns over reflections? Are there concerns over heat when you're 44 some odd stories tall? Heat rises, Christine.
You know, that's what they tell me.
Yes.
The developer that's doing this project is Aspirant Development, and he has done a number of projects in downtown Phoenix that are a lot of glass. And over the years, from a sustainability and a standard, they've really figured out how to stop the reflection. They've figured out how to not absorb the heat into that glass. And so we've had a lot of experience with that here in downtown over the last decade, and it's really working. Technology's changed dramatically from when it was originally conceived of for glass, and the buildings would get so hot.
Yeah, okay, groundbreaking is when?
The end of this year.
End of this year, and how long?
It will take about 36 months to build.
About 3 years then,
Yep.
and then you got your this. You got your this.
Then you got it.
But what happens to Chase Tower? I mean, I feel bad for Chase Tower. It used to be the big kahuna.
I
now.
know. It's going to go back to being a big kahuna again. The developer that owns that building is working on their redevelopment plans now. They've gutted the entire building and completed all the environmental work that's within the building, and we're working really closely with them on the different disciplines that'll be inside of that building. My guess is that one will start redevelopment in early 2026.
Okay, yeah, because you feel bad. I mean,
I do
it's
too.
kind of fencing around it. It looks like kind of lost and forlorn, and you're going to be building this thing right close to it, but
Right.
It'll have a second life.
It will.
Chris Mackey, always a pleasure. City of Phoenix, good to have you here.
Thank you.
A best-selling Phoenix author is out with a new book that's being described as a literary rom-com. The novel is titled Courtroom Drama, and it combines friendship, romance, reality television, and a court trial. Neely Tubati-Alexander is the author of Courtroom Drama, and she joins us now. Welcome to Arizona Horizon, and congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
This is like your third one, right?
My third rom-com, yes.
Yeah, well, I still think congratulations. Writing a book to me would be such an effort. Is it an effort? I mean, how difficult is it to write a novel?
It's an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an effort. It's a lot of work. And, you know, every book that you finish, you get a little bit more intuitive, a little bit smarter, a little bit more knowledgeable about kind of the structure and how to go about building things. So I would never say it gets easier because there's always independent challenges with each book, but it does become more intuitive.
Yeah, and I want to get to that writing process in a second, but let's talk about courtroom drama, a high-stakes courtroom love story dealing with sequestered jurors a lot here, huh?
Yeah, you know, your agent or your publisher always is looking for something high concept, things that you haven't seen before. And one of the beloved tropes in romance for romance readers is forced proximity. And what better forced proximity than being in a sequestered jury?
I never knew that. Is that really like an idea? Make sure they can't get away?
Yes, exactly.
That's the kind of thing you force them into doing something. Well, and there's a lot going on here. Let's talk about the writing process because there's so much going on, and I just wonder, do you do an outline? Do you know where you're going when you start? Do these characters just say, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this?
Well, I am what we refer to in the writing world as a pantser, which means I fly by the seat of my pants. I don't outline. I know a lot of authors do outline and plot, so it's different for everyone. But for me, the exciting part is sitting down, seeing where the characters take me, and kind of letting them guide the story. It's more exciting that way, and it keeps me from getting writer's block.
But it probably does, yeah. But if it's a courtroom drama and you got two people and they're probably going to get together, or you don't know, what happens if they're just not hitting it off?
Romance readers would revolt if you don't give them
you gotta find a way,
happily ever after, or what we call happily for now.
Yes.
So romance is one of those unique categories where you know what you're going to get, you know what's going to ultimately happen, but the road to how they get there is really the exciting part for readers. And there's a reason readers come back to this genre over and over again, and that it's the #1 selling genre of any genre out there because it is familiar and comfortable, and readers eat it up.
Yeah. We say readers eat it up. Do you get a lot of fan mail? Do you get folks that are absolutely nuts over these characters?
Well, the best thing I think is hearing from authors, readers in your DMs, or who will reach out to you and tell you what specifically they connected with in the story. So whether it was a character or a scene or something that was said, and it sometimes is things that you didn't even expect or that you didn't even think twice about putting into a book, and that's always really nice to see how people were touched by it in ways that you didn't even expect.
I was going to ask you, are you ever surprised by the reaction?
I am, yeah, I am. Sometimes you write something and you think, gosh, this is what's going to really land, and then it ends up being something completely different. So you just never know.
Let's talk about research. How familiar are you with the legal process, with courtroom trials and the whole business here? And did you have to do a lot of research on that?
Well, now I am very familiar. Going in, I always joke that there's, every book, there is one thing that I stop in the middle and think, why did I do this to myself? Something that I knew nothing about that I decided to incorporate into the book. This was the courtroom component. I knew the reality TV side. I didn't know the courtroom side. So yeah, that was where I spent a majority of my time on research, was courtroom proceedings, trial, sequestered juries, all of that.
Did that help change the process a little bit? Help change the direction? Help change the plot maybe a little bit here or there?
I wouldn't use the word helped, but made it more challenging. So,
really?
Wanting to ensure that you are being realistic and not taking too many, too much leeway with the plot, and ensuring that you're adhering to sort of what would and wouldn't happen in a real courtroom environment does tend to close the reins a little bit, tighten the reins on what you can get away with in terms of plot. So that's always a challenge.
I would imagine you could get away with a little bit here. I mean, the attorneys can't get all that. It's a rom-com, for goodness sakes.
You'd be surprised.
I guess I would be surprised. You describe yourself as a Bravo-holic. Is that where the reality television comes in?
It is, yeah. They always say you should write the book you want to read, and I love reality TV. I think it's a great escape, especially now when the world is so heavy. And I think romance does a lot of what reality TV does for people, which is give them a nice escape from the complexities of the world. So it was really fun to sort of explore something that I already enjoy.
Are there characters, when you write the characters, do you see a Bravo character? Do you, like when you, or conversely, when you're walking down the street, walking in the mall, wherever you are, do you see someone and goes, I know you. I wrote about you 1 or 2 books ago. Does that ever happen?
I will say, because sometimes people will ask, is this character based off of a certain person in your life? And it's never quite that simple, but you definitely pull things from different people. So pieces of personalities, the ways people behave, their mannerisms, you'll pull kind of bits and pieces of things from different people.
Yeah. How do you find... It just seems, writing a book just seems like it's, like I mentioned at the start, it's such an effort. How do you find time to do it?
I think it's like anything, everyone is busy, and it's just a matter of what you prioritize for your time. A lot of this book was written in the school pickup line when I was waiting for my kids, and in stolen moments. I think a lot of people who aspire to write, or even who do write, think, I'm going to, wait till there's 4 hours of time where I can set the mood lighting and have the coffee and all the things. And oftentimes that's just not going to happen. So I try to prioritize it and take the moments where I can get them.
Does the muse find you, or do you go looking for it?
I have never, I hate to say never, right, knock on wood, but I have never been at a loss for ideas. It's more a question of what is the market demanding, what is, you have conversations with your agent about what should be coming next. And so it's always sort of a prioritization of idea more than a lack of idea.
Yeah. Last question before you go. Is Hollywood or Netflix, are they knocking on the door here a little bit?
I mean, let's put it out there. I do have a film and TV agent, and seeing the list of who they send it out to is always a fun conversation to have. And yeah, we'll see where it goes.
All right. Well, Neely Tubati Alexander, Courtroom Drama. Congratulations on all your success. I mean, you must be very proud, and good luck with all that Hollywood stuff.
Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.